What is up guys, Speed here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be following ARTEEZY in one of his Troll Warlord games where he makes a major comeback and sort of just analyzing the game as we go through it. And the reason why I want to do this is it's a major comeback, right? He had a very bad landing stage, clearly complained about it in all chat, and managed to turn the game around with a lot of good decision making. And really what I want to focus on and what I want to specifically do today, instead of watching a full 55-minute game, which I know would terribly bore basically everyone, what I really want to focus on is looking through his early and mid-game rotations and farming patterns, and really focusing on the mini-map and basically trying to get you guys inside of the head of a high MMR player to the best of my ability. I'm sure ARTEEZY is quite a bit better than me at looking at the map, but I can guarantee you, if you want to get to, 6k, 7k MMR, you have to develop a profound sense of the minimap, the ability to just stare at it and check back all the time. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you guys are excited for that, like and subscribe, as this is different and something I'm trying out. So if you want to see more of this and you are enjoying it throughout any point in the video, like and subscribe, and you can do that right now as well. And I also want to give a quick heads up to everyone who is currently part of the gameleap website. I have a video coming up very soon on Warlord. It's going to be a super advanced replay analysis that I'll be doing over on the gameleap website. So yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for that. And if you aren't part of the gameleap website and you're missing out on all the amazing content that I make over there, I recommend you sign up right now. Go to the description down below, get your discount while it's still active, and yeah, let's hop right into the video. So getting into his laning stage, as I said, he had a very tough lane. This is a Bounty Hunter Nature's Prophet lane. This is going to be difficult for most heroes in Dota. Like, these are just two of the harder heroes to lane against, at least in the early laning stage. Bounty Hunter, if he takes... Oh, actually, I'm a bit surprised he took Shadow Walk, but he took Shadow Walk. I guess he's going more for the slow build, which I think actually makes sense here. I can respect that. It's going to let him close the gap between the Troll Warlord, and you're going to be able to combine the movement slow of the Shadow Walk and the Orb of Venom to basically get around a 25% slow, which is going to let the Nature's Prophet get a ton of auto attacks off. And I think that's a pretty big deal. One thing that's important to note about the Troll Warlord currently, or at least how ARTEEZY is playing it, is he's burning a lot of his mana early on, and that's the reality. So he already has a death, right? The lane has gone quite poorly already. If we look at the net worth, he's not going to be in a great spot, right? Already 200 behind, or 250 behind the Nature's Prophet. And because of that, he has to use a lot of mana to sort of help himself get back into the lane to the best of his ability. So we're going to see two ways he actually adjusts when doing that, right? So number one, he's going to rush a Wraith Band and actually doesn't go a Quelling Blade, which I think helps his sustain in a very difficult lane, right? He's able to buy a Salve and 6 Tangos because of this adjustment. And most importantly, he's actually going to ship out a Sage's Mask here. One of the things that people don't understand about Troll Warlord as a hero is basically that this hero is quite bad. This hero is quite bad in terms of his mana pool if you're playing him properly. So a lot of Troll Warlords might be like, well, I never run out of mana speed. I guess I'm better than ARTEEZY. No, it's actually the complete opposite. I think it's a good thing that he's running out of mana consistently, right? He's being very active with his spells, and if you're playing against Nature's Prophet and you aren't pressuring his treants, and the Nature's Prophet knows what he's doing, it's GG. Your game is absolutely over. So you're going to see him use it for to secure CS, contesting a lot of the creeps, doing a really good job of denying a ton of the ranged creeps, and continuing to run at this Nature's Prophet anytime he thinks the bounty isn't in the area. Really good Fisher Dare. Unfortunately, doesn't get a single root. And yeah, let's get into the next part. And this next clip just goes to show, guys, that not even the pros are perfect. This is why, like, if you ever do get to this level, or for some reason you do well in open qualifiers, you have to understand that the pros die, right? They're gankable. And on top of this, I want to show and give a little bit of insight to all you mid laners who are watching this. Guys, just be fast with your ganks. Be fast and gank heroes that don't have TP up. Period. Just do that. Be fast. So if we look at Ryoya here on the mid Leshrac, he just ganked ARTEEZY. As you can see, ARTEEZY's TP is on cooldown. I'm sorry, he doesn't even have one. He literally didn't buy one. He didn't buy one, but it is on cooldown for like 40 seconds. And look at the minimap right here, right? He actually sees the Leshrac coming. However, human attention is not that good, right? The best of the best are better than the others usually because of practice and either, genetics, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. But he goes on the Nature's Prophet here, right? This is good pressure. This is exactly what you want to do, right? You want to man up the people in the trees when they're separated. Unfortunately for him, there was a Leshrac who was actually showing, unless that's a vision bug, right? Unless I'm not seeing something, and he ends up going down. So now his lane is completely ruined. That's a great rotation from the Leshrac, and I wanted to show that off, because as you can see, he's very done. And now the important thing that he's going to have to do is try to find a way back into this game, and I think after dying, he's going to realize that he has to be a lot more attentive to the minimap, And we're going to see that through the rest of this game. I think he does a much better job of basically adapting his movements and staying safe. So the first thing he does is gets a very fortunate kill into this bounty hunter as there is a sentry nearby, and you're going to see him just going ultra aggressive. Just because you fall behind doesn't mean you can't fight. However, I think he couldn't fight if he rushed a Battle Fury. Keep this in mind, guys. If you're playing at the top level or in your own pubs and you have a bad lane and you rush a Battle Fury like Boots no stats Battle Fury, you will continue to feed over and over again if they pressure you. You will feed. And good players take advantage of that, and I want you guys to see this as well. You can take it from the other perspective. If you're a position 4 player and a carry doesn't buy good items, you need to be pressuring them over and over and over again. Just run at them solely. Now here he's going to start jungling. The top side of the map is, generally dangerous. They do have a decent ward here, but jungling is pretty fast, and he's also waiting for the Nature's Prophet simply to push in the lane. On top of that, he got an Iron Talon, which is always going to make jungling just 10 times as efficient. It's really that simple. And then he gets a pretty good gank onto the Nature's Prophet here, right? Able to get a kill. And this is really what you're looking for when you're falling behind as a carry. You're looking for 2 things: safe farm and easy kills, right? This is how you come back into Dota games. And now, right, sees the Leshrac on a minimap. All of a sudden, his focus goes, and he's not in a fight this time, so it's easy for him to look at a minimap. But you see how he sees this Leshrac coming? Imagine if he doesn't, this Leshrac gets a haste, he's insta-dead, right? Insta-dead. He is, because he would have walked down to farm that camp and died. But instead, he's able to stay alive and actually bait out the Leshrac, right? This is the difference here. He's able to call over his team, right? He told the boys, hey, there's a Leshrac coming. They might not have seen it either. And this is how you know someone's a top tier carry, when they can make play calls like that, or ping out a Leshrac that's diving, avoid a gank, and actually turn it into a kill, right? If he dies there, the game might just be over, right? It might turn into a 5k lead that they can't come back from. But they do end up coming back in 55 minutes from this game, and I think that's like a main turning point. They're able to kill the Leshrac, who was the second net worth. At this point, all he's really doing now is just clicking around the map, checking people's items, and scouting for what's going on. So right now he sees the Gyro bottom, he sees the Leshrac mid, he sees the Bounty, the Coddle, the Prophet. So they're all showing on the map, and that's why he's going very aggressive with this farm here. Let's pay attention to what he does next. Does he pressure the tower? No. Why doesn't he pressure the tower? Right? Why not? Why not, guys? He just saw all 5 heroes. Why not? Well, number one, they're pretty fast, right? This is a very fast Leshrac, who is super good at pressuring Troll. There's a Gyro who's also pretty fast, phase boots, drums, and a rocket. And of course there's Bounty Hunter and a Nature's Prophet. So it's very dangerous for him even to go close to a tower this game, even if he just saw them, because they have a lot of ways of catching them, right? He went power treads, he's not that fast, he's not a phase boots Troll. And because of that, they can catch him. So instead, he backs to the jungle, and on top of that, you can even just make this simple. You can make this as simple as pushing the tower here, considering it's full HP, would not get him that much gold. It wouldn't. He wouldn't kill it, right? There's no way he would kill it without them reacting. It's not possible. And because of that, he just thinks that this is more efficient, right? Once again, popping his Iron Talon, getting more neutral items for the boys, and he instantly is going to TP mid here. I actually do like this TP, and it's something I want to talk about here. The reason why I like this TP, and I recommend you guys look to TP mid more, is mid tier 1, and specifically your high ground, is the easiest place in Dota to fight. So what you're trying to do when you're fighting on the mid high ground is only kill people that step up too far, right? You're trying to kind of like poke and prod, hit back up. So, chips the Gyro there, thinks it's a bit of an overextension, sees a good Fisher to, go on the Gyro, maybe get some whirling axis damage, and he's basically trying to chip them down here. You see that? You see how he's trying to chip them down? Great CSing as well. But that's what you want to do when you're fighting around the mid tier 1 tower, right? Chip. Just get everyone low, right? Everyone extremely low. The next thing he does is go bottom here, and let's just pay attention to the map. So he sees the Bounty top, Coddle, Leshrac mid, and that means he doesn't really have to be scared of a solo Gyro. It could be a Gyro plus Nature's Prophet, which is somewhat threatening, but not too big of a deal. Now, to make his farm safer, he's actually going to cut the wave. How does this make your farm safer? Right? How does cutting the wave make your farm safer? Well, it's because you kill the wave faster and you can drag it into this area, which is much safer from a bottom side TP, right? If he waits for the wave to come to here and then clears it, there's actually a big chance they'll catch up and be able to kill him, right? So instead he cuts the wave and now he's going to bring it all the way back, actually double farm it, and that's a very efficient play to make, right? Drag it to the small camp, you can even drag it to a large camp, and now he's back to the Ancients. In this case, I just love the fact that he's farming Ancients because he has an Iron Talon. If you have Iron Talon and you are a carry, please carry the item. It's so unbelievably strong for farming, and it lets you just shred Ancients because, you take off half HP of the big Ancient. Here, let's look at a mini fight that breaks out. So he doesn't want to run into the ulti here, right? It's basically impossible for him to fight. And I think a lot of carries would have panicked and be like, oh my god, the Leshrac's low. But you can't get in, you can't get in there. You have to stay back and keep yourself alive. Right, his goal right now is to get the Battle Fury timing. That's his goal. He needs to stay alive, hit his Battle Fury timing. So even when his Bristleback is getting gone on, all he's focused on is the next wave. On top of that, how in the world does ARTEEZY go from farming a wave and knowing the entire enemy team is generally in this area to going to the next wave. How does he do this? Because he's staring at a minimap and he sees that their focus is forward. He's even checking it with his camera, right? This is not me, this is him. Right? This is his player perspective. He's checking it and actually shifts over, calling for his Omni Knight to go onto the gyro. Unfortunately, they don't end up getting the kill right away. But they are putting a lot of pressure and opened up their team to get a few kills onto the bounty and to the Leshrac. Let's talk a bit about Troll Warlord's spellcasting here. So I think he plays this fight very well. So number one, gets sprouted instantly he cuts out, right? He also switched to his strength treads here. And I like that decision because I think if he wants to live here, he basically has to buy time for his team to come over. So he gets Yules up in the air, but he understands, okay, I'm not going to die from full to zero. If I'm on strength treads with a 21, and this is why you have to buy small items, guys. Like, you just have to. But he's not going to instant die here, right? He has that 21, and he's going to start hitting the Lesh, right? He's going to slow the Lesh, get another hit in, and he's already built up now 2 stacks onto the Leshrac. Switches to Agi, and the reason why he switches to Agi is because he was planning to ult, and he wants to be able to lifesteal as much as possible. It's much better to ult on Agi, in this case, because you're obviously going to hit more, a lot more, and actually for 10 more damage. Unfortunately, Nature's Prophet hard counters Troll Warlord. That is just the reality of that matchup. Sprout, you can't cut out a Sprout when you are ultied, right? You can't use items, and therefore he gets kited. Thankfully for him, the Omni Knight saves him. And why was he able to be saved? Well, because he played the fight properly, right? Strength treads, has a wand, has stats, and ultied as late as possible. Otherwise, he would have died. And, you know, once again, guys, there's a couple situations in which he could have died here or played fights incorrectly. And if he does die, he loses. This is why a lot of you guys get 21, 22, 23, 25-minute battle furies, and you're done, right? You don't deserve to win the game if that's when you get your battle fury. You just don't. It means you're making a lot of wrong decisions and you're not good enough at looking at the minimap. Upcoming here is some very high MMR movement, and the reason why I say that is because this movement is very uncommon, if not unheard of, in low MMR games, where basically you push in a bottom wave, right? He's farming bottom side just because bottom side is safe, and it's also efficient. Now, when he's pushing in bottom side here, what he's doing is he's actually looking to eventually set up on the tier 1 mid tower, so he actually calls his team, okay, hey guys, like, let's wrap across. On top of that, I want to mention he has another shawl. I think this item is unbelievably good on just carries and cores in general, and people don't give it the respect it deserves. But yeah, he's basically going to wrap from bottom to mid, and this is one of the best plays you can make, and it's why you want to farm aggressively. If he's farming here, right, and he kills this camp over by the tri-camp, he's not even close to the fight, and then his team can't do anything. And now, he's not in the best position to fight right now, right? If we look at the net worth, he's doing okay, he has 10k net worth, but he doesn't have, like, you know, his Sanchin Yashi yet, doesn't have a Basher, doesn't have a BKB. He can definitely get kited. However, because he plays fast here, right, because he's playing so fast with his team, he's able to at least pressure the mid tier 1 tower, force a glyph, and find this bounty hunter, which he is able to luckily double root and kill. But this is a great movement. Not only does he get a tower, he gets a kill, and he can immediately go back to farming, right? Doesn't waste any time, says, okay, the engagement is over, I'm back to farming. Unfortunately, his team doesn't back out as fast as he does, and they get caught out, which is why it's important as a carry player to tell your team, like, hey guys, I'm backing, right? You have to tell them you're backing. Otherwise, you're kind of just leaving them for dead. You have to tell them, you know, hey, I'm leaving, you have to leave as well. I think in this upcoming fight here that we're about to look at, he ults a little bit early. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I think his idea here is that he could burst the person he would go on if he clicks ulti. But the Nature's Prophet TP's in. Once the Nature's Prophet TP's in, I think he assumes, okay, this is probably his thought process. Prophet has committed Sprout, meaning that my ulti can't get stopped, right? If Prophet has Sprout, that's the major concern. So he Quelling Blades out, right? And immediately pops his ulti. However, the problem here is that there's still a Cuddle ulti and a Cuddle Blinding Light. So there's basically no way he can actually get that many auto attacks off. I do understand why he ulti though. Actually, you know, if the Cuddle wasn't there, I think it's pretty legit. I do, because the Sprout was committed, and that's, you know, how carry player, like top tier carry players think. They identify what counters them and what counters their spells and play around it. But unfortunately, in this case, he gets kited a little bit too hard. Does get a ton of damage out, right? Really does. But I think if you waited a little bit longer, it would have been quite a bit better. And that's why Troll is such a difficult hero. At least your ultimate is such a difficult spell to use properly. It really is. But if you can get good at it and try to watch your replays and watch ARTEEZY replays, things like that, you're going to be able to just be so threatening with that spell. Alright, so I've decided to skip ahead a little bit here, just so the video isn't 40 minutes long. If you guys want a 40-minute video, you can let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? But let's look at a very cool fight here. So his item build is a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. He doesn't have like a particularly large amount of damage, but Unfortunately, the enemy team does counter him pretty hard. They have a lot of mobility, a lot of ways to get the troll off of them. I think if he doesn't have an Abyssal, a Sanjin Yash, and a BKB, he will likely get kited. And now let's look at this engagement here. So he's going in on a mid lane, 2 heroes dead on both sides. And what is he going to do? Well, he's actually going to identify that the Lesh is going around here, and let's see when he actually goes out to burst the Lesh. When does he actually go on top of the Lesh? So he sees the rocket come out, trying to stay out of vision, right, using the tree line to stay out of vision. Sees the Lesher coming up, pings him, goes in with the Abyssal and immediately ultis. I think he's hoping to get a bash here, does get the bash, gets the kill before the Yules can come out. Perfectly played, right? I love the ulti there because, right, in that case, the ulti gives a 200 attack speed, which is pretty insane, right? And if he doesn't get that 200 attack speed, he doesn't get the bash, he's gonna get, the Lesh will get the Yules off, and they will potentially lose the fight. So just incredible decision making there all around, perfectly played, great use of the vision, great bait of the Ember Spirit, just super smart. Immediately back to there though, he has bots, and he's actually gonna TP to the top side of the map and look to push in a lane. So I think it's really important to note, guys, even in the late game, ARTEEZY is looking to be efficient. I know there's a lot of carry players that once it goes past like the 25-30 minute mark, they kind of just stop flash farming. It's a really weird thing I see in a lot of like mid to lower MMR games where players, you know, they'll farm for the first like 20 minutes. They're like, ah, yeah, I got my like 1 or 2 items, you know, depending on what items they're buying. And they're like, yeah, I'm done farming, right? Once they feel like they're a little bit strong, it's not completely done farming, right? I'm not saying like you never hit a creep camp again. You just hit quite a bit less. This is not everyone. I know it's not. I'm just saying this happens with some players, and I would keep your mind on it. He's doing every single proper farming pattern and shoving the lanes in as well, which is really the important thing here. I think it's less about the items at this point. It's more about trying to establish map control by pushing in waves. This next upcoming play here I really love because it just shows how ARTEEZY has already identified, and a lot of this is just his experience. I'm sure he has over like 20,000 hours of probably just playing Dota, but looking at this fight here, he actually knows right now, especially considering his Earthshaker and Ember Spirit are both dead, and the Prophet has a BKB TP out option, that he is actually the split pushing counter here. Very funny, right? But he knows, even as a core, when he has to be the split pushing counter. And so he counters Nature's Prophet TP with his Abyssal Blade, and of course is going to be able to get bashes. Neither the Omni Knight or the Ember Spirit could have been the guy to do that. They would have likely lost their racks, or they wouldn't have been able to get a pick off onto the Prophet, which could potentially lead them into further engagements. You can even see him drawing lines now on the map, saying, hey guys, push out, right? We got this pick off. Prophet's dead. They lose all of that Prophet utility that he offers, which is a ton at this point in the game. Sprout is genuinely broken at this point of the game. And now he's just going to push out lanes, right? Understanding that he's the BKB, get the lane out as far as possible, establish vision control, back off when you get to the point where the outpost becomes a threat, right? When people get TP out behind you, and immediately get the other side of the map out as well. When you're against Nature's Prophet, you're gonna have your lane shoved in all the time. So what's very important to do is get the lanes out when he's dead, right? Get all the lanes out as far as possible, and then look for something like Roche. So they're able to finish off Roche here. He was considering picking off the Bounty Hunter, who is stepping forward, but they get the Aegis. He doesn't end up taking it, doesn't really have a slot. Pretty hard for him to swap out any of these items. Would be pretty bad to do that. But yeah, he's gonna once again push in the lanes, cuts the mid wave, goes bottom, actually finds the Leshrac in the bottom lane, gonna be able to likely get the kill, has the Abyssal Blade, locks him down, and this is the power of the bots here, but most importantly, he has to get back to mid instantly. So what does he do? Well, joke's on you actually, he actually shoves the bottom lane. Why? Because he understands that he probably won't be able to get to mid as fast as he thought. However, he once again double takes, right? Pros are not, quote unquote, they don't know exactly what to do in every single scenario. They don't have the perfect decision making that is, you know, allows them to make, obviously they don't, because ARTEEZY loses games, Secret loses games, OG loses games, everyone loses, right? At some point or another. And because of that, he now is like, okay, I shoved the bottom wave, that's good. It's gonna let us play bottom and maybe get a pick off on bottom later on because we've shoved in a wave. And now I can go to the mid lane, right? I can run to the mid lane and connect with my team. Yeah, here, he doesn't really want to go on the gyrocopter. He's actually trying to get to the cuddle. Can't find him right away, eventually does on the back line. And this is a great pick off. Why? Because the cuddle simply kites it. Blinding light makes Troll miserable. So it's a really good target for him to burst. Then after that, he's gonna start to kite back a little bit. The buyback comes out from the cuddle. His Omni Knight is low, Omni Knight going down. So it's a really good decision to disengage. Do you want to fight on the enemy high ground here, guys? Do you want to fight? Yes or no? Why did he never walk onto the high ground, guys? Why do I say this in videos? Because it's terrible. You get kited. You can't fight on enemy high ground. It doesn't work. It does not work. Pros think this. 7K MMR players, everyone thinks this at the top level. Everyone thinks you don't want to fight high ground if you don't have to. If someone buys back and you're low on resources, you don't dive. You do not dive. However, if you watch 2 to 3K to 4K to 5K MMR games, everyone's just running up the high ground. Just look at the games. This is not me trying to be mean, all right? I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to give you constructive criticism that you can implement into your games. If you look at high ground scenarios where one team gets a slight advantage, right? Like, let's say it's that cuddle kill, they're gonna run it up the high ground. He doesn't have resources, didn't have his Abyssal, didn't have a BKB, doesn't have the resources to fight, and you do not want to get kited by the lack of vision and lack of ability to dive on the enemy high ground. So he does not go up, he resets, and is going to look for a fight later on. Builds a disadvantage, gets another pick off into the Prophet. As we talked about, he has identified that he is the Prophet counter. He is the hero that has to deal with the split push because of his Abyssal Blade, and now let's look at his target priority. Right? Isn't too interested on going on Gyro, however the Gyro drops pretty low, right? Does pop his Minotaur Horn, and he's just going to look to straight up man up. Yeah, I was going to say, right there I'm like, okay, he has to kill the Cuddle, because he doesn't want to let the Cuddle get off another Blinding Light, which would just kind of force him to ulti early, and that's not optimal. He might ulti here, but it doesn't seem like he's going to need it right away. He's just going to kind of build up stacks. Does decide that, okay, Gyro is too hard for me to kill. Gyro also has a Satanic and a Diffusal Blade, which is going to burn his mana if he mans up too hard. And because of that, he switches over to the Leshrac, right? Going to look for the Leshrac kill, finds it. Moving on to the next target, the next easiest to kill, finds the Bounty Hunter, moves over, right? Unfortunately couldn't get through. Very unlucky on that Sprout. The Fisher kind of hurt him there. But he's going to be able to shift over, find the Gyrocopter next, and kind of picks through them one by one. Fantastic target priority overall. He basically can adjust mid-fight. He's like, I can't really kill this Gyro, or it's taking forever. I'll just ignore him, right? This Gyro doesn't do an insane amount of damage. It's not nothing, but it's not like, this isn't some divine dataless Gyro, right? It's like a stat Gyro. So you kind of can ignore him and try to just kite him, right? And they kill him last, which I think is a really good decision by ARTEEZY. And finally, last but certainly not least, we're going to see the game-ending maneuver. He picks up a Moon Shard and a Divine Rapier, which is obviously good here because he was lacking damage. None of his items really gave damage. He simply just did not have particularly good damage items. And we see also a Butterfly come out from a Gyro. I think the Bounty Hunter might have the evasion talent. He does not. Right, doesn't matter though. And yeah, now let's see how ARTEEZY is going to end this game out. So he's actually not too afraid of the mid lane with his Divine Rapier. Is actually going to spend some time to shove in the top lane. And a lot of players just don't understand why that matters. Guys, just watch games and see how many times pro players can get pickoffs just because they shoved in a wave a couple times. Or even in your pubs, if someone accidentally does that, or actually intentionally doesn't, right? Of course that could happen, right? You'll see them get a pickoff because of it. Now here he's actually going to run it down the mid lane, sees the Cuddle. This is obviously a top tier pickoff. Gets the Abyssal Blade onto the Cuddle. Fantastic, because obviously, as we mentioned, this is a very bad matchup for him. Cuddle is likely going to have to buy back. He's going in now, right? Gets on top of the Lesh. Doesn't want to overextend, right? Has Heavenly Grace, no Aegis though. Just going to be using ranged form. Why is that important there? I can't stress this enough, guys. I can't stress it enough. Why is he ranged form and not melee onto the Lesh here? Why would he not go melee and try to bash him? Because he doesn't want to overextend. You do not want to overextend on the high ground. So he's trying to chip him down, right? He's hoping maybe he'll get a little bit lucky, but it wasn't overextending. Goes into melee because Gyro steps up a bit far, but now he's going to have to once again go back to range and not overcommit. His team at this point is diving, so he is going to get in, right? But it was a slow development. He only goes in deep when his team can get in deep with him. I really want to make the distinction there, okay? A lot of the time, the carry is the only hero that can get into the backline quick, or the mid laner. And they go into the backline, their supports can't get there in time. Their offlaner might not be able to get there in time. Or, you know, their mid laner, depending on the game. And then they're all stuck alone. Let your team slowly come in with you. And once again, we're going to see the range form come into play here. He actually does end up popping his ulti to get a little bit of attack speed. And I think most importantly there, it's the lifesteal. He doesn't have a Satanic, so the lifesteal is very important. Instantly gets the Battle Fury out, cuts out of the Sprout. I think there's a chance he actually ends up dying there, potentially even throwing the game if he gets caught in that 6-second Sprout, but that's why you have to go Battle Fury against Prophet. Like, I legitimately think that's a large reason why he buys this item. Probably not the only reason. He probably felt like he has to carry this game to a large extent, right? His teammates don't scale. They have an Omni Knight. He has to be the solo carry. Burst of X scales well, but yeah, that's going to be the end of the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned a ton. I tried to make this as educational as possible while entertaining as well. So if you enjoyed that, like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the future. If you want to see this with any other player or hero, and if you want to see a 40 to 50 minute video, let me know and I'll look into potentially doing that at some point. You know, that might be absolutely treacherous for some people. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace. Before you leave, just want to say a quick message. If you're trying to get better at Dota or you just enjoyed that video, I know this is pretty general and you're going to hear this quite a bit from me, but I recommend you sign up to gameleap.com. Why? Because I put a lot of effort into the content over there, and generally the effort I do there is different from the content you're going to see here on YouTube. It is different. In fact, I usually go a lot more in depth on topics or into niche topics that help you get to the next level even faster. Because on YouTube, I often have to keep it more mainstream. And that's even why I'm putting it at the end of this YouTube video. That's why this is at the end, because a lot of people just watch 5 minutes, they skip through just for like the dopamine spike. But if you are interested in actually getting better at Dota, I recommend you go to the description down below, get your discount right now by clicking the link, sign up, use the discount code that you're gonna see there, and I hope to see you there right now. So click it, and yeah, thanks for watching.